Okay, welcome back to Introductory Algebra. We're going to start with 4 tonight, and it's subtraction of real numbers. So we're going to subtract real numbers and simplify combinations of additions and subtractions. We're going to solve applied problems, guys, as they're word problems involving addition and subtraction of integers. Now, don't forget, every time you see this little box in here, it usually means that there's a negative sign in here somewhere. So I'm going to try to put that in there so that you can see. Whoops, that was a really big one. Let's see if I can make that a little smaller. There you go, a little bit smaller. So the difference of A minus B is the number C, for which A equals B plus C. You've seen that before. The wording, sometimes when they give us projects like that, they just look real funny. So when you think about this, when you have 4 minus 9, think about your checking account. If I have $4 and I'm going to take 9 away, I am still in the hole for $5. For any real numbers A and B, A minus B is the same thing or equals A plus a negative B. So to subtract, you're going to add the opposite, or it's called the additive inverse, of the number being subtracted. Alright, don't forget that these squares again mean negative, so I'm going to go in there and pop those in real quick. So if we have negative 15, we're going to add the opposite of negative 25, which is positive 25. Think about the absolute value, which is the highest one, 25 or 15. 25 is the highest, and it's got a positive sign, so our answer is going to be positive. You take the difference of the two numbers, and you keep the sign of the highest one. So in this case, our answer is going to be 10. Think about your money. If you think about money, you usually get it right. Let's look at number 2. You have negative 13, and then we're going to add the opposite of 40, which is a negative 40. Now, we have the same sign. So when you have the same sign, you just add them together and you keep that sign. So the answer is negative 53. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have 3 minus 7. So we could simply say 3 plus a negative 7, and that's going to give us a negative 4. Let's look at number 2. I have negative 5 plus a negative 9. That's going to give me negative 14. And last but not least on this slide, I have number 3, which is negative 4 plus a positive 10. Remember, we changed this to plus, and then we add the opposite, so it would become a plus. So our final answer on this one is positive 6. Let's put in our negative signs where they go. I know I don't hit it just right, but I'm hoping you printed your notes that will help you. You can do a couple of different things. You can look and see what needs to be changed first, and that's sort of where I'll look. I'm going to look here, and so if I have negative 4 plus the opposite, which is going to be positive 6, and then I'm going to look again right here, and I still have negative 10, so I'm going to write down negative 10 plus 5, and then I have this action going on here. So I'm going to change that, and I'm going to add that as a positive 7. Now you can rearrange it if you'd like, or you can just sort of go in order. A lot of people just rearrange it, so I'm going to put my negatives together here. So I have negative 4 minus 10, and then I have a 6, a 5, and a 7 that are positives. So these two give us a negative 14. These three give me a positive 18. When you complete it, it gives me a positive 4. And that's your final answer. Now you could have punched it in your calculator straight in using your negative signs and your subtraction signs. But just be very careful. Make sure you know how to use your calculator. Okay, the Johnsons were taking a vacation. And one day, they drove from mile marker 54 to mile marker 376. How far did they drive? Now, I don't necessarily want you to write this in the formal fashion of it. I want you to understand how you got it. So stop and think about it. How would you work this problem? If we started out on mile marker 54 and we stopped at mile marker 376, how many miles did you go? You're correct. We would do subtraction. You would say 376 minus 54 equals 322. That is the simplified way, and that's not doing it in the formal way. But if you did it in the formal way, you would actually write 376 plus a negative 54 equals 322. Either one of those are correct, okay? I am not always looking for the most formal way of doing it. And if you want partial credit on your work, you need to show me step by step so I come up with something. All right, you need to open your book, and we're going to look at exercise 12. And if you hear me fumbling, I'm opening my book as we speak, or as I speak to you, so that I can find the exercise. Now, again, these are where you should really stop and you should try to work these problems before checking. So it just gives you an idea just to see how well you understand the content. So number 12 is negative 6 minus 10. You could rewrite it as negative 6 plus a negative 10. And so when you get done with that, that gives you a negative 16. We're going to look at exercise number 13. Number 13 is 12.4 minus 5.3. Guys, you could do that if you wanted to. Just simply put it in the calculator because you're used to doing that or doing it by hand. But if you write it in the formal way, this is what you get here. So when it's all said and done, you get 7.1. Number 14 is negative 8 minus negative 11. So negative 8 plus its opposite, so it makes that a positive. So we wind up simply with, oops, not a 10, that's 11. Bless your hearts, you get to read my chicken scratching. So negative 8 plus 11 gives us a positive 3. And on exercise 15, we have negative 8 minus a negative 8. So we have negative 8, we change the operation to plus, we take its opposite and we add it. Well, that's simply 0. That is the additive inverse so that you know that you're getting 0. Think about your money. Okay, our last exercise. You get 2/3 minus a negative 5/6. We're going to rewrite that as 2/3 plus, don't forget we change the operation to plus and we take the opposite, so we get 5/6. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut of doing math with fractions if you do it by hand. It's called bow tie. So you simply just multiply these together first, and that gives me 18. Then I multiply here, that gives me 12. Keep the operation, and I multiply here, and that gives me 15. You add those together on the top, you get 27 over 18. If you simplify that, guys, I hope you remember how to simplify. You get 3 over 2. Also, you can use the ABC key on your calculator, and then it's called a different key on certain ones. But these are your fraction keys, so if you don't know how to do those, it's very important that you learn. Okay, again, this is your suggested homework. It's 1 through 89, every other odd, plus number 95. So take the time to look over those. If you're in the flipped class, we'll be doing those in class. If you're in the traditional or the online class, these are the suggested homework problems that you do. Thank you and have a nice evening.